So Harpoon is a 2019 horror comedy thriller. I don't exactly know. I would say that this leans mostly in the thriller drama with some comedic elements and some horror elements, but more on the side of dramatic thriller. So we'll stick with that. This is a movie I haven't heard of until about a week or two ago. I remember there was that other Harpoon movie, Harpoon something with a bunch of like dead bodies on top of a harpoon. And I thought that that's what they were talking about when I saw lists of people talking about this movie. But I was like, wait, that movie's older. What is this movie? So I was talking to a buddy of mine and I was like, what's your top 2019 movies? What do you got on your list? What are you wanting to see? What are you not seeing? Blah, blah, blah. And he had mentioned this, and I had seen it on a couple other people's lists. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw it on. I'm going to go in blind. It's $4 on Vudu. So I went in blind, and I really enjoyed this one. I did. I did not realize that the star of the movie was the kid who played Turbo Kid. So that was a nice surprise. This is a um, very small amount of characters in a isolated location throughout the film. So it's hard to give a plot synopsis without giving too much away, but I will say this. There are three friends in this movie. And after a gigantic misunderstanding, they decide to take a boat trip together to make amends for this misunderstanding. And while they are out there, secrets start to come out, and they end up being out there for longer than they had anticipated. There you go. That is as vague as I can make it without giving too many spoilers. This is definitely, it starts pretty upbeat comedic. Like it's got like that dark comedic feel to it. It's got a narration from the guy who plays Murray in Stranger Things. He's been in plenty of things, but that's the one that I'm most familiar with him in at the moment. But I've seen him a thousand times in so much stuff. He does a narration in this, and it plays off pretty silly at first, but it actually gets pretty dark, and there are some plot twists, one in particular, that I just didn't see coming at all, and it completely changes the entire film when it happens. And I was like, oh, wow, what? Okay, holy shit, they actually got that one past me big time, because I didn't see it coming in the slightest, which I was impressed with. The acting here is mostly good. I mean, I think that the movie may have been better with a bit of better production value, I suppose, and the actors maybe giving better performances. I don't want to say their performances are bad, because they're not. It just felt like it was missing something. It felt like it was missing, like, it felt hammy in places where it shouldn't have. Because the film kind of has a hard time finding its footing when it comes to its tone. As I said, it starts pretty comedic, moves darkly comedic, then thriller, then some horror, then drama, thriller. It's kind of all over the place, which isn't a bad thing. But I do kind of blame the performances at times, because I was having a hard time figuring out whether or not I was trying to take this seriously. And that's tough for me in movies, because I want to kind of have a grasp on what I'm supposed to be feeling while watching the movie. When I say that, I just mean, like, is this a serious movie? And if so, then I can dissect it like that. I can digest it like that. Like, all right, all these events are serious. The characters are serious characters, this and that. But because it kind of starts very playful and almost silly, even though there's some dramatic things going on in there that, contextually, like if you were to actually break them down in real life scenarios, they're not funny. But it's the way it's presented with the narration and with their performances that feels like, all right, this is going to be a playful movie. And then it kind of starts to move darker, and then it kind of starts to become playful again a little bit, and then it starts to be comedic. You know what I mean? It never really found its footing on where I was supposed to feel about it, and I feel like that hurt the film in that regard. So what would fix that is just either the director picking a tone, and so maybe it's not the actors at all, or something. But that's really the only real negative I have, was just the tonal confusion, if that makes sense to you. If you watch the movie, let me know if you understand, and if that is a similar problem, or if you're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It is almost confusing what I'm saying it, but that's what I kept feeling throughout the movie. Just, is this serious or is this not serious? What is this? So, I dug it though. I definitely think it's absolutely worth a watch. I would rate it pretty high because I really enjoyed where this journey took people. It gets pretty damn dark in places, and there are some surprises to be had. And another thing, I guess, now that I'm really thinking about it, I didn't really like the characters. And when I say that is like, I don't really have any sympathy for anybody. Like, they all kind of seem like not great people. And that's not a knock on the movie, because that's just the characters that are being presented, and, that's okay. But it does make it a little hard to get invested in certain key moments, because I'm like, I don't know. I kind of find you to be an unlikable person. So I don't really care that this is happening to you. So I guess that was another issue I had. But still, even through that, because it was giving me new twists, because it was presenting things in a different way, I was actually kind of starting to look at the characters differently and be like, okay, so you're like that because of this. And because this happened, now I kind of understand what this is going on. But I still don't like you. But I guess with how the movie all ends up, I'm pretty satisfied with what I got. I will be curious to know what people are thinking about the very ending of this movie. That will be an interesting discussion. So anyway, could this be more vague? Cool movie. Okay, I definitely think you should check it out. Some people will find it to be too absurd, a little too over the top. Maybe the characters, they hate them too much to care about anything that's going on in the movie. And I completely could understand those things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it did work for me, and I had a good time. So there you go. I hope that makes sense. I've said that a few times now, but I'm confusing myself with my own review. There you go. Adios.